Hi, welcome to another edition of Three People Who Inspire Me. I'm ZGALA, the Art Angel. This is the Head Hutt. Wrote a book about it you can find on Amazon. And I'm going to dive right into this new segment that I'm calling Three People Who Inspired Me. I'm going to focus on yesterday because it's still before noon around here. My brain's a little fuzzy. And I'm just using this as a practice to introspect, to think back, to reflect on what inspires me, what I appreciate in other people and want to emulate in my own life more. And so today, thinking back on the last 24 hours or so, three people that come to mind who have inspired me are David Cho. He's an artist and a YouTuber and a multi-talented human being, flawed and imperfect as we all are. And Simone Grace Soul, who's a coach of mine, who is also a multifaceted human being. Aren't we all? David Cho, Simone Grace Soul, and Peter Sage is another coach that I have been calling my own. I've been participating in an online course that he has for about a year now, I think. And so let me dive into what inspires me about those three people. David Cho, as I mentioned, is a multifaceted human being, artist, actor, YouTuber. I don't know if he would call himself an actor, but he certainly is a multi-talented and multifaceted human being. And even though that is inspiring, that's not what is the quality that is inspiring me about him that I want to emulate more of in my own life is his authenticity, his willingness to be flawed and imperfect out in the open and share that in a way that seems very authentic and spontaneous a lot of times, and in that inspires me to share my own authenticity, my own flawed imperfections, my perfectly imperfect humanity, basically. Also, he has a lot of enthusiasm. I think that's probably sprinkled in there is part of what makes him such an entertaining figure to tune into. So let's see if I can come up with three things about the three people. So his authenticity, his enthusiasm, and his fallibility, I would say those are the three things about David Cho that have been inspiring me a lot lately, but specifically in the last day or so as I reflect on my last 24 hours. So moving on to Simone Grace Soul, a coach who I recently signed up in. I've dabbled in some of her programs and recently signed up for her more expensive annual program, which is still quite affordable in the land of more expensive annual programs, which I really appreciate because it allowed me to actually jump into it at a time when I might not have otherwise been able to. And to sum up three things about her that inspire me the most, I think it is her confidence, her ability to hold space for other people and cultivate confidence in them, and her sense of humor, I'm going to go with. She has a great sense of humor and a great ability to see the good in other people, or to summarize the key points in a positive way of other people, which makes part of what makes her a great coach. And she's formally a business coach, but she really might be also called a life coach, because through her business coaching, she's always pulling us back to that personal culture bit, that authenticity bit. You'll see a theme through all of these people that inspire me. I think I'm willing to bet that that will resonate with you, because we're all looking for that, aren't we? We're all looking for our own authenticity and the confidence to step into it fully and feel like we belong in this world instead of having to fit ourselves in. And Simone Grace Soul is a wonderful coach, largely because she really has a special gift, a special ability, which obviously she's cultivated. She may or may not have been born with a lot of that, probably a little of it, but also she's definitely put in the work time to cultivate that in herself, so that then she's able to bring that out in other people. So, and she often brings her sense of humor to it in a way that lightens it up enough to step into, because I think a lot of this stuff of getting into why we don't feel like we belong, or getting into why we don't feel like we're able to express ourselves authentically, comes down to a shame piece, a heaviness. And so she's able to bring this sense of humor to all of that helps lighten it up and helps make it okay to step into, okay to be in. And as a coach and a leader in general and a businesswoman, she really demonstrates this fantastic ability to hold space. She creates these containers, long-term and short-term, and invites people to step in an authentic way that I find very inspiring. And I hope to bring more of that into my own life and into my own offerings to my own audience. So her ability to hold space, her sense of humor, and now I can't remember the third thing I said, her confidence. So that all goes together, obviously, but through all that, she is constantly demonstrating the ability to move forward with confidence, even if she has imperfections. She doesn't do a lot of editing, if any, which is something I also aspire to do and do. I always crack myself up when I say do. Anyway, she inspires me by demonstrating how wonderful it is to be confident in our own imperfection, to cultivate the sense of humor, and that bring that lightness to everything she does, but in particular to the heavy things, the potentially heavy things, and to create safe containers, spaces where other people can come in and find a sense of belonging and explore their own authenticity, their own culture, their own self-expression. Third, Peter Sage. As I mentioned, that is a coach that I've been participating in his online self-mastery course for around a year. I haven't checked the dates, might not be quite a year, but about every week. I go through little spurts, but anyway, I've been digesting his content, which he's gathered from a lot of different places. And I would say the three things that inspire me about him are his exceptionality. So part of that, like he talks about how that's largely in his younger years came from an ego-based place, but now comes from a probably, we all have our egos, but more and more he recognizes how you can go even further by wanting to serve others. Your ego, especially if you have a big, awesome ego, it can take you pretty far, but it can let you down in those moments of real struggle, in a way that working for someone else, being inspired by someone else, having someone else to work for can bring us another level of motivation. And so circling back to what the three things that inspire me about Peter Sage are his up-leveledness. I'm not thinking of the right word for it, but his exceptionality, I think I called it. He really is an exceptional human, and he demonstrates that that's okay. he demonstrates, he's a great model for being an exceptional human. He's got a vibrance to him, and he does a lot of skydiving and amazing things that many of us only dream about doing sometimes. And I am a person who has been at times known for doing things like building this Head Hutt, for example, that a lot of people would only dream of. And so I really admire and am inspired by Peter Sage's exceptionality and his willingness to bring that to the table. Another thing that inspires me about Peter Sage is his ability to hold space he does this in a much different way than Simone Soul, although, they're both coaches in their own right, and they've both created safe spaces for me and other people to step into, so they have that in common. But Peter's way of doing that is in an interesting way, sort of by, it seems less direct. I'm just speaking off the cuff. I haven't thought this through, probably obviously. Just off the cuff, it seems like he creates these safe spaces of belonging by, I'm hesitant because he does create containers for us, but they're sort of less in the moment and more broad scope, perhaps would be a way of saying it. He, like the container that I'm in, we'll call it that, the program that I'm in of his is one that has been compiled from lots of past recordings. And most coaches do this to some extent. I plan on doing it more. I have done it some. So I'm certainly not trying to criticize that. In fact, I'm trying to stammer out that I am inspired by that, because he demonstrates by doing that it doesn't have to be this big intentional, like in the moment you're creating a safe container for people. It can be a compilation of your own work that then creates a safe container or an invitation to other people to step into that. And again, you'll probably notice there's a common theme through all the people that inspire me in general. And I think I want to just talk about a specific thing that inspired me about Peter Sage's exceptionality, and that is a story which he's recorded himself telling in a few different contexts. But the story is about him doing I want to say it's the Seoul Marathon, but I'm pretty sure that's not the right name. But it's an amazing marathon where people run for 5 days, a marathon every day, except for the fourth day they run 2 marathons, which is, I believe, 26 miles. And it's incredible human feat. And then this particular one is done in the Sahara Desert, where you have to carry all your stuff, like a 40-pound pack, and you're limited to like 9 liters of water for all your needs, cooking, drinking, washing, all of it. It's really just an astounding human feat. And in listening to him tell that story, it's paired with that exceptionality I was talking about, but I'm going to separate it out, because that specifically is something that very few humans do, even fewer than skydiving or getting rich, and speaks to like a level of willingness to push oneself that most of us would not dare or even dream of stepping into. And I find that very inspiring, because it like raises the bar for me to a level, like you might even say to infinity, because I really don't have any intention of doing anything that difficult in this lifetime, but having that story in my repertoire of stories from my coaches really inspires me to know that anything I can dream up is not too far out if I really want to try to go for it. And of course, there are other examples. Elon Musk just popped in my head. He inspires me as well. That'll be my bonus number 4, but not in the last 24 hours. Still, I'm trying to keep these sessions to who has inspired me in the last 24 hours of my life and share that with you, hopefully to inspire you to think about who is inspiring you and what is inspiring you about those people or things or places. It doesn't have to be people. I think it's a great exercise to think about what inspires you, what do you want to bring more of, cultivate more of, emulate more of in your own life. So that's what I'm doing in this segment. And again, I will say in the last 24 hours that Peter Sage, in his exceptionality, in his ability to create containers out of fragments of other things, and in his specifically running this 5-day marathon, has been an inspiration to me, or the story of that. Simone Grace Soul, for her great sense of humor and her ability to create intentional safe space containers to help other people tap into their own perfect imperfection, basically, and really get in touch with what is our own culture, our own uniqueness, our own gifts that we have to offer to people. And David Cho, for his very unique artistic flair, which isn't what I called it before, but his fallibility and his willingness to share that openly, his enthusiasm and the way that he brings that to everything he does. And now I can't remember the third thing I said, but I'm going to go with his artistic nature, his creativity, because that is really inspiring. Who inspires you? What's inspiring you? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear about it, love to read about it. I think it will help everyone, all of us, if we cultivate this practice more. So let me know what you think. Like and subscribe. That helps me out a lot. Thank you if you do. Again, I'm ZGALA, the Art Angel. You can call me Auntie Angel if you like. This is the Head Hutt. I wrote a book about it. You can find a link to that on Amazon down below. And stay curious, stay courageous. I'll be seeing you soon. Ciao for now.